On this day, Good Friday, we remember what took place, that this was for us. For us to have a full taste of Easter, we remember that it was our sin that led Jesus to go to the cross, because of God's great love for us, that he would go in our place. Jesus would go on trial and ultimately would be led to the cross. It's quite a change from the events of Palm Sunday. And now, here he is. He knew what was coming. The disciples who'd followed him so closely would desert him. As the prophet had said in Zechariah, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. And this is what would happen. And ultimately, Jesus would die a criminal's death, going to the cross. And that journey was made for us. Let us hear the events now of Good Friday.
Early the next morning, a large crowd had gathered. "Do you want me to release the king of the Jews?" Pilate asked them. The chief priests had already talked to the crowd and told them lies about Jesus. "No," the people shouted, "crucify him!" "Why?" asked Pilate. "What crime has he committed?" But the crowd just kept shouting. Pilate was a weak man and he wanted to please the people. So he told the guards to beat Jesus, then handed him over to be crucified.
The soldiers dressed Jesus in a purple robe. Purple was the color that kings wore, and they wanted to make fun of him, as they believed he would only pretend to be a king. They even twisted together some thorn to make a crown.
"Hail, King of Jews," they shouted, laughing and mocking him. Then Jesus was forced to carry a heavy wooden cross through the crowded city streets. All the way, people jeered and shouted at him. It was very different from the way he had arrived in Jerusalem.
At 9 o'clock in the morning, the soldiers nailed Jesus to the cross. "Father, forgive them," whispered Jesus. "They don't understand what they are doing." Jesus was in great pain all day, and it became harder and harder for him to breathe. A crowd gathered, shouting nasty things at Jesus and making fun of him. "If you were really the Son of God, you would save yourself," they jeered. "Come down from the cross." But Jesus did not reply. The sun went behind the clouds and the sky became dark and stormy. But the crowd and the priests kept shouting their cruel words. Finally, at 3 o'clock, the Son of God took his last breath.
As we hear those words about the message of Good Friday, we can look at those words which are on the cross now. This was for you. This was for you. Have we ever heard that before, that the events of Good Friday were for us because of God's great love? But ultimately, the price would be paid. It was for us that Jesus went to the cross, that he would die that death. Do we realise that that's why it happened? That because we are so precious to God. And for the followers of Jesus, this must have felt so confusing. But this was not the end of the story. There were more chapters to come. Things would change once again. And as the disciples were scattered, as they were hidden away, more was to come. Jesus might have died on the cross, but death could not hold him. And he went to the cross because of the sin, all the things that we've done wrong, so we could have salvation, so we could have that promise of eternal life. Join us over the next couple of days as we reflect upon the rest of the Easter message and what it means. But today, let us look at those words and reflect and know this was for you.